Hello friends, this is Marilyn. Welcome back to Hillview Farms, where country runs deep. Hey there friends, I'm glad you're with me today because I'm going to try something new. I am going to try to use up some of our apples that we bought when we were on vacation last week in the mountains. Actually, it's been almost 2 weeks. The first thing I'm going to do though is try to get all my apples peeled, and then I'm going to put them in a slow cooker. And I'm going to add some brown sugar, cinnamon, maybe a little bit of nutmeg if I have any of that. And we're going to let it simmer for a few hours today. I call it friendship applesauce just because it reminds me of that. When I used to run the daycare, I had a teacher who made friendship applesauce every fall with her students. And I think the reason it was called friendship applesauce is just because all the children would bring in an apple, and it wouldn't be any particular kind of apple. You know, they just brought in whatever kind their mom purchased for them. So you may have some Red Delicious, you might have had some Granny Smith, just green apples or Ruby Reds, or you know, whatever. And they would just cut all of them up together and put them in a crock pot with these ingredients and let them simmer. And then after nap time, when it was snack time, they would all enjoy their applesauce that they had made together from all the different kinds of apples that they brought. Now I know that there are specific apples that are better for certain dishes. Like at this apple store I was at, they had a chart that would show you which apples are best for making pies, which ones are best for preserving or putting up, and which ones are best for applesauce. But for friendship applesauce, you just use whatever the children would bring. And it was good. And I think the message that it sends is that even though all the apples were different, and different colors, different textures, some were a little sweeter, some were a little more tart, when you cut them up and put them all together and apply some heat to them, they just blend together so well and form something so delicious. So I think there's a good message there that is used to teach children about how all of our differences are good, even though we're not all the same. Everybody is still good in their own way, and that we can all still live together in harmony and make something beautiful. Just like our delicious applesauce. Now some of these apples have already got little brown spots where they've been bruised just a little bit. And a lot of that is because my little grandbaby loves apples. She's 1 year old and she is now saying apple. And she loves to go grab an apple for grandma to peel for her, even though I'm scared to death for her to eat apples right now. I'm so scared she's going to choke. But she does love to go get them for me. So some of them have little love bruises on them, and you know what? That is going to be just fine. Not going to hurt these apples one bit in the world. They're still going to be delicious. Now I'm going to make a small batch, so I'm probably not going to use all these apples. I got to save some for my grandbaby. So I am going to make a small batch, just because I'm the only one in my house that eats baked apples. Basically, that's what it's going to be, is baked apples. I don't really blend mine up to make it into a sauce. I'm going to leave it in pieces, and it's basically going to be like baked apples you would get at Cracker Barrel, which is so good. But my husband doesn't eat cooked fruit of any sort. He likes fruit, but he doesn't like it cooked. So there's no need in me making a huge batch of this. I'm just going to make enough for me. And if it turns out really good, I have another idea in mind. I just happened to see some packages of pie crust at the grocery store. Because no, I don't know how to make pie crust. And I thought, I might be able to make some little apple turnovers. I guess that's what you would call them. So we'll see if this turns out well, and if it does, we might try to use that pie crust and roll these out and make some little apple tarts or apple turnovers, whatever we're going to call them. Now, I do recall my mom making apple pies a few times when I was maybe a teenager. It wasn't something that I grew up with. She made chocolate pies a lot, and they were Jell-O chocolate pudding chocolate pies, which is what I grew up on and what I grew up loving. And believe it or not, I did not like homemade chocolate pies when I got older. I like Jell-O chocolate pudding pies. Anyway, we never really made apple pies, but she kind of got on a kick for a little while when I was a teenager and started making a few apple pies, and they were just really good. It was kind of a short-lived thing though. So I do remember her making a few, but it was not like a tradition or anything in our family. So I don't really have any memories about how to do it. So this is all new to me as far as making these baked apples and then trying to make those little apple turnovers. But I just don't know how it could go wrong. I mean, I'm gonna cut these apples up and I'm gonna put them in a crock pot with sugar, brown sugar, and cinnamon, and let them simmer for about 3 or 4 hours. I mean, what could go wrong? Actually, I do think I'm gonna go ahead and use all of these just because it has now been 2 weeks since we brought them home, and I do not want them to start getting mealy. You know what that means? I think you do. Whenever you bite into an apple and it's just got that grainy texture because it's starting to get soft. I don't want that to happen to these. I'll just pick up some more apples for my grandbaby at this grocery store. So we're gonna go ahead and use the rest of these. And if you think I'm crazy for using a potato peeler to peel my apples, I probably am. But I do have rheumatoid arthritis in my hands and osteoarthritis in these little bones here. So gripping a knife and maneuvering that is kind of difficult for me. I can do it, but my hands are going to throb tonight when I go to bed and keep me awake. So potato peeler may not be a lot better, but I think it will help out. I think it will keep my hands from throbbing quite so bad. It feels better. It doesn't seem to hurt my hands quite as bad while I'm using it. Now I feel positive that my goats and donkeys and chickens are going to enjoy these apple peelings. So I'm going to save them, and we will carry them down to the animals a little bit later and give them a little treat. They love treats. Now, next thing I need to do is core these, and for this I am going to use an apple core. I'm going to try anyway. My problem is getting it lined up so that it actually cuts through the core and not mutilate the apple. There we go. How about that? Perfect. And my goats and chickens are going to love these cores too, so we're going to add those to the bag. There we go. Okay, I'm going to do the rest of these and see how many we have. And then I'll try to decide which crock pot I need to use. And I need to clean up a few of these that didn't do perfectly with the apple core. And I'm going to cut them up in smaller pieces. Just because if I do decide to use these for little apple turnovers, I don't need huge pieces. I have 3 crock pots. How many do you have? I have a really large one. I have this one that's kind of a medium size, and then I have this small one here, which I love, but I think it's going to be too small for what I need today. So I'm going to try the medium one first and see if all these apples will fit in here. Clean this one up a little. Left a little bit of the core on there and a little bit of the peeling. Some people leave the peeling on when they do baked apples. I'm pretty sure Cracker Barrel has the peeling on their apples. And I eat those, I like those, but I prefer that it not have the peeling on it. There's a little bit of core. So that's how I'm making mine today. No peeling. You can tell that no longer than it has taken me to peel these. Some of my apples are already turning brown. Apples are bad for that. As soon as the air hits the inside of an apple, it's going to start turning brown. because it reacts with the oxygen. It's called oxidation. It doesn't matter. It doesn't change the flavor. It doesn't mean that it's gone bad. It just reacted with the oxygen. One way you can prevent that from happening if you're ever using apples like on a fruit tray is you can soak them in some kind of fruit juice, like pineapple juice is really good. That's my favorite for soaking apples in. But you can use whatever you got. You can use orange juice, which is usually what most people have on hand. Okay, so I've got all the apples peeled, filled it up almost to the top, but I think that's okay because the apples have a lot of water in them, and that water's going to cook out, and they're going to settle a lot. So I think that's going to be fine. This is the perfect size crock pot, my medium crock pot. Now, I told you I was just kind of flying by the seat of my pants today. I didn't go shopping to prepare for this. I knew I had brown sugar at home, and I knew I had cinnamon. I thought I might still have some other spices for when I make mulled cider or homemade apple cider, but evidently I didn't. So all I have is brown sugar and cinnamon, but still, brown sugar and cinnamon. It's gotta be good. And I don't even know how much sugar I have, so just for your benefit, I'm gonna measure it just to give you some idea. But if you try this at home, you use whatever you've got, whatever you think will taste good with baked apples. This is exactly 2 cups. So let's put it. Why not? Let's add 2 cups to be sure that's not too much. In fact, I wonder if I might have to add a little bit of plain white sugar. I'm gonna try it though this way. I'll stir this sugar in really well. Make sure it gets all the way to the bottom. But even as it heats up, it'll start melting and dripping down to the bottom. It's gonna be so good. It's gonna form like a syrup. Let me go ahead and add some ground cinnamon. I have 2 containers. I think this one, we'll see which one's open. Nope, let's go ahead and finish this one off first. I never use those little holes. Anytime I use cinnamon, I just pour it. Okay, I'm gonna mix that in, and then I'll probably add some more. Good golly, this already smells good. It already smells like baked apples. I mean, I could eat it just like it is right now. I read where somebody recently referred to this time of year as cozy season. And I thought, you know what? That is so true. I like that. Cozy season. And to me, some baked cinnamon apples is just a thing to make this house smell like cozy season. Okay. I'm going to add a little more cinnamon. Yes, I am. Just some more, about that same amount. So I don't know how much it was. You saw how much I added the first time, so I added that much again. I'm gonna let it cook about an hour and see how it is and try to do a little taste test. I need to add more sugar. I'm gonna put it on high to start out with and see how that goes. If I need to turn it down later, I can. There we go. This house is going to smell amazing. Y'all, I'm not gonna lie. I came back and added a cup of white sugar. I just want to make sure there's plenty of sugar in here. And I can see look, it's already starting to turn into a syrup. Oh, that's going to be so good. So I put these on about 12:30 and it is now 2:30. So they have been simmering a little over 2 hours. I was out in my shop working on some quilted ornament orders, and honestly, I forgot about them. So I ran in the house to check on them, and they're doing really well. But I could smell them as soon as I opened that back door. Oh my gosh, they smell so good. So let's go take a look and see how they're doing. That smells so good. Ooh, you see all that syrup in there? That is so good. I can tell that the apples are tender. They're still just a little bit crunchy, so I really think another hour will do it. But we'll play it by ear. We'll give it another hour and see how it goes. Oh my gosh, they smell so good. So the apples have been simmering in the crock pot for 3 hours now. And I just did a taste test and they are done. They are very good. Now I'm just gonna let them sit in the crock pot. It's turned off and let them cool. They're really good right now, and I imagine lots of people like them hot. I'm weird in that I like mine cold. It's just that the sugar kind of, I don't know, it almost becomes like a candy once it gets cold. And that's just really how I like them. So these have turned out perfectly. Y'all, I just made myself a bowl of these baked apples to go with my supper, and they are so delicious. I know you're not going to believe me, but I think they're better than Cracker Barrel. And I love Cracker Barrel, but these are better. Good morning. So it is the next day. Yesterday afternoon, I let these cool all evening long. I may have had 1 or 2 bowls of them with my supper last night. They are just so good. But I allowed them to cool and then I put them in the refrigerator. And today, I'm gonna try to use a few of them to make some little apple turnovers. Now, I just bought some basic Food Line brand pie crust. I've never done this before, have no idea if this is gonna work. If it doesn't work, you'll never see it. So, I want these to be round so that I can fold them in half, like a half moon, like a typical apple pie or apple turnover. So let's see what we've got in here. Okay, so we have a roll of dough. Looks like there are 2 in this pack. See if I can unroll it without tearing it. Okay. If you're using store-bought dough, rule number 1, read the instructions on the box first. If I had read the instructions on the box, I would have known that I needed to sit my pie crust out for 20 minutes at room temperature before I attempted to unroll it. I didn't read the box though, so when I unrolled this one, I noticed it was starting to crack and pull apart. So I'm gonna let it sit here for a few minutes. It's already starting to reach room temperature and I'm able to fuse those little cracks back together. I guess I could grab my rolling pin and flatten it back out, but I'm gonna try my fingers. So I went ahead and took the other pack out and let it sit. And it unrolled a lot better. I'm gonna press these edges though. The end of the roll where it's wound up tightly is the one that seems to crack the most. But you know what? It's dough. So, you know what? You can just ball it up and get your rolling pin and start over. That's actually what I did with this first batch while I was waiting on the second batch to reach room temperature. I just wadded it up in a ball and grabbed my rolling pin and rolled it out. And then I used this bowl to cut out my circles because I do want them to be, I want them to be pretty. So I cut them out so they'd be symmetrical. And I did go ahead and put them in the oven to be my test batch. Look, aren't they pretty? We're gonna see how those turn out while we work on the next batch. Okay, so I'm going to use this bowl because I do want them to be cut out really pretty and round because I'm going to fold them in half circles. And I'm just going to make sure it's trimmed really well by going around it with this sharp knife. Phew, I got the oven on, so I'm getting hot. Now I have this pretty little perfect circle. And I'm going to just put a little bit of my apples, and I'm going to drain some of this liquid off because I don't want it running out of my apple pie. Okay, that should do it. Now I'm going to fold it over until the ends touch. May have to stretch it a little bit, that's okay. Now I'm going to just take a fork and I'm going to seal the edges by pressing, and that's what makes that pretty scalloped edge. It also seals the dough together, so hopefully no more of this juice will run out. The only problem with it running out is that it's going to mess at the bottom of your oven. But I put a sheet of aluminum foil under it just in case, to catch any drippings. See how pretty? I'm going to do the second one. It turns out my mother makes these. I didn't know that. She said she makes them every now and then when she just wants a little something. Especially if she has any leftover dough after she's rolled out pastry or biscuits. I didn't know you could do that either. She just uses her biscuit dough. Whoop, whoop, whoop. And you can use pie filling. I mean, you can just buy apple pie filling and put it in here. And I also found out from Mama that you're supposed to deep fry them. Didn't know that. I'm not prepared to do that today. I don't even know if I have enough oil to submerge them. So we are going to try these, baking them. I mean, you bake apple pie, for goodness sake. Can't you bake a turnover? Alexa, stop. These smell good. Woo, pretty, pretty. Now, I didn't think about this earlier, but I'm going to add a little bit of butter to the top. And then sprinkle a little cinnamon on the top of these and put them back in there for just a couple more minutes. See how that turns out. Whew. There we go. Put them back in a few minutes. Not many though, it's already getting brown on the edges. Wow, these smell wonderful. They appear to be done. I'm gonna let them sit and cool. And you know what? I have a good recipe for white glaze icing, so why not? Maybe I'll make up a batch and put that on them. It is a good thing I put aluminum foil under the rack in the oven because it did leak and it burned immediately, which wasn't really unpleasant. It kind of smelled like burnt roasted marshmallows, and we've all done that. They're still good. But it was definitely a good choice so that my oven doesn't end up like that. And I actually still have a lot of apples left, so this is when one of those freezer cubes would come in handy, where I could just put it in those cube-shaped containers and freeze it, and then vacuum seal them, or pop them in a Ziploc bag where I can pull them out one serving at a time. Unfortunately, I don't have a freezer cube, but I'm gonna find one. So they look really pretty. But I do think I'm going to make a white glaze to go on them. And I'm not going to measure anything because I'm just doing a very small batch. I'm just using powdered sugar. And normally I would use clear vanilla flavoring, but for some reason I can't find mine. I know I didn't use it up because who uses a whole bottle of vanilla flavoring in your lifetime, you know? I'm just gonna put a tiny dash because I don't want it to turn the color of my icing, because it sure will. And then I did warm my milk just a little bit. I'm gonna add a little bit of milk. Just whisk that together. So I'm pretty much just making it the consistency I want. It's not gonna be perfect, but it's powdered sugar, milk, and vanilla flavoring, so how could it be bad? My biggest problem when I do this is trying to get the lumps out. I do think I need a little more powdered sugar. I may have put too much milk. Look at that glaze. And now I'm just going to drizzle some of this glaze over the top. I'm going to have to try this one. Okay, let's try this. That is so good. Wow. This will definitely be on my list of things to bake from now on. And if these are any better fried, well, I don't think they could be better fried. So I guess the fact that they're baked has got to make them a little bit healthier, right? So now I'm going to have to try this with everything, like blueberries and strawberries and, oh my goodness. Phew, I'm tired. That was a job. Those turnovers turned out really good. So I'm definitely going to do this again. And I may even try to make some and freeze them. And that way I can just pop them in the oven whenever I want them, because I am the only one that eats them in the house. So that'll be nice to have on hand. So I chose to use the friendship applesauce recipe in my video because I like the message that it sends. I just like the way all the different kinds of apples can be cut up and cooked together and make something really delicious. I think it sends the message to children that even though you may be different from others, that you are also valuable and that you do have something to contribute. And I think we see this a lot in adults as well, especially when it comes to going to church. There are a lot of people in this world who feel like, I can't go to that church because they know me. They know everything I've done. Or I can't go to that church because I've got all these tattoos on my arms. And I can't go to that church for this reason or the other. So my response to that is, you're going to the wrong church. So I think everybody, regardless of our past, our mistakes, even if we think that we are way past being able for God to love us, there's a place for us in the body of Christ. There is a church for everyone. The Bible tells us that the only sin that we can commit against God that He will not forgive is the sin of blasphemy. So who are we to judge people who have passed? Maybe they have made mistakes in their past that they're really not proud of. But who are we to judge when God Himself says that the only sin He will not forgive is blasphemy? So find a home church. Find a church that will welcome you as you are, whether they know you or not, whether they know about your past or not. If you feel unwanted when you walk in the door, turn around and leave. That's what Jesus told His disciples. If you enter the towns and they don't accept you, brush the dirt off your feet as you leave and go find another one. So I hope all of you will find a home church that you can be a part of a Christian community. I think it's very important, especially in this day and time, for all of us to have fellow Christians that we can be friends with, that we can fellowship with, that we can reach out to when we need prayer, that we can pray for when others need prayer. So we all need that body of Christ and that community in our lives. So thank you so much for spending some time with me today, and I'll see you next time on Hillview Farms, where country runs deep.